Hello and welcome back to my channel. Eberhart-Currat here, certified personal trainer, nutrition coach and Reiki therapist. Happy New Year! Wishing you all the best for 2020. I hope you had a great start to this new year and that you had a really good time celebrating Christmas and creating lots of nice memories with your families and friends. It's January, so everybody is now probably back at you trying to sell you a nutrition program or a workout program or any app in any kind of shape or form. So while I have nothing against New Year's resolutions, I generally tend to encourage people to create new habits, practice them one by one, integrate them thoroughly, and then they have them for life. So basically we don't have to start new come every new month of January every single year. We're starting a new decade, so why not trying to do things a little bit differently this time, because willpower and motivation are limited. They can be lasting for 2 to 3 months, and if your program is not adapted, if you are not really changing your life habits, you will eventually burn out, and it's gonna be too much either on the nutritional side of things or maybe as well in terms of working out. I get asked a lot of the time as a nutrition coach whether I'm counting my calories and tracking my macros or not. And I actually had a chat about that I filmed during my previous holiday in Santorini, and I watched this content again and it seemed to be very complete, and I don't see myself doing better than what I did previously, and I see no need to paraphrase what I did in the past. So I'm going to insert this content. I mention a few things. So who could benefit from counting their macros and tracking their calories? Or they actually the other way around, counting their calories and tracking their macros or not? And if you do so, for how long? What could be the benefits? Which special populations have to maybe do this for an extended period of time? Whether I am doing that myself personally as well, and if so, why? And if not, why not? And of course, what's my experience with it? Because I try everything that I can before giving you advice. Before giving advice to my clients, I need to speak from experience, and we're all different, so what will work for me will not necessarily work for somebody else, but I like to speak with a minimum of experience in anything that I do. So yes, of course, I have tried tracking calories and macros, and I will share my experience with you and tell you whether this was a good, bad or neutral experience maybe, who knows. So yes, I think this is actually timeless content, because you shouldn't need to track your calories or macros or pay so much attention to food. It's about making healthy habits and actually implementing them so that you have a healthy, fit and happy lifestyle. And I really do believe that the best habits are the one you can stick with for life, not a crash diet, not going from 0 to hero when you, for example, don't work out at all and you start exercising 5 times a week. This is not going to be lasting for very long, in my honest opinion. I don't want to kill your momentum, I don't mean to kill your enthusiasm. If you have it, great, go for it all out, but know that at some stage eventually you might burn out or get a bit tired if you do too much too soon and you don't give yourself enough time to adjust and implement new practices, be it on the nutritional or training side of things. Anyways, here is this chat about macros and calories and what is making sense or not, all the nitty-gritty details. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please give me a thumbs up so that I know which content you would like to see more of on my channel. Hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. And this is pretty it for now. Wishing you again all the best for 2020. Love, health, fitness and everything in between for this new decade. Thank you so much for watching. Here is the previous content about macros and calories. Enjoy it, and I will see you next soon. Bye for now. Am I counting my macros? As a nutrition coach, the answer is no, I don't. I love to eat intuitively. I've been doing so for a few years and it's working well for me. I don't like to have math for dinner, and I want really to connect to my gut feeling and to sensations of satiety and am I still hungry or not. And I don't think my phone or any app has to tell me how much I need to eat on a given day and whether I should be eating more or less. If you are brand new to the fitness world, why not? Because honestly, we all underestimate how much we are eating, and I am also generally underestimating how much I am eating, because about 3 years ago I was injured and I thought, you know what, let me count my macros, let me see how it goes. And I was really drastically underestimating how much I was eating. So you're either underestimating or overestimating. I also see in my practice lots of people, and actually not only women, surprisingly, lots of men who are not eating enough. They exercise on a regular basis, and when I see their food logs, because this is how I approach the initial consultations, we have a nutritional we start with a nutritional overview.
Assessment.
We have a nutritional assessment and ask for a food log with 3 to 5 days, including the weekdays, including also the weekend days, because these are super important and they can sometimes derail everything. But you have people who are fitness instructors who eat salad and not much else, and that have gaps of 8 hours during the day without food, and in the meantime they teach 3 fitness classes. So sometimes I'm shocked to see as well men not eating enough. They work out, they want to lose weight, and they will not eat carbs or just not eat enough. So of course their bodies will be in restriction and deprivation mode, and they will store everything that they can, and the storage comes in the form of fat. So sometimes by just increasing your calories a little bit more, you can actually start to see results, gain muscle mass, and actually lose some fat tissue. So just to say that, yes, I am not counting macros, but sometimes it's interesting to see whether you are eating enough or not enough, because lots of people are actually under eating when they approach fat loss and fitness. I'm not saying counting macros is wrong or bad. I mean, to each their own. If you are a bodybuilding competitor, absolutely, you will have to count your macros. But if you just want to enjoy your physique all year round and have a fit and healthy lifestyle, you don't have to count your macros. For me, it's also a bit perverting and playing nasty games with your brain, because you can count your macros and sometimes you think, oh, I have this amount of carbs left for the day, and you will start to play around with your macros and say, oh yeah, I can have a chocolate cake, but then I won't be having any carbs left during my day, so I won't have any veggies. So sometimes your macros will be properly hit, but if you fill your macros with chocolate cake, and then it means you won't have the salad or the veggies because you have eaten all your carbs allotted to that day, I think there is something wrong with that, because your brain will begin to negotiate and you will have this negative approach or unhealthy approach basically to counting your macros. So make sure you eat healthy about 80% of the time. If you're counting macros or not, this doesn't really matter, but it's not a must. It's interesting maybe for 2 weeks to write down everything you are eating, so you don't forget the little nibbling here and there between lunch and dinner, the little biscuit in the office, the little chocolate here with your coffee, and to have a real assessment and to know exactly what's going on, because our brains are very tricky and quick to forget that we ate a little something here and there. So for that, yes, I would recommend maybe writing down everything you eat and tracking your macros for about 2 weeks. But when it leads you to making weird calculations, to squeezing your waffles or your chocolate or your cake, and this means you won't have salmon, for example, because you have no fat left on that day or no carbs left on a given day, I think this is where things tend to go a bit slippery and unhealthy. So that was just me and a long ramble to say that I am not counting macros, I am not counting calories, and I eat intuitively. And this is what's working for me and makes things much easier in my life. I remember 3 years ago when I was trying to count macros, it takes such a long time because sometimes some foods are not registered on your app. I know by now you can scan the code, the barcode on certain foods, but then you have to figure out, oh yeah, I have to weigh my food, and is that 1 serving and a quarter, is that 1 serving and a half? And honestly, in the end, I think I was spending like, all in all, 30 minutes a day just inserting my macros into a stupid phone. So I'd rather use these 30 minutes towards stretching, meditating, exercising, you name it. And last but not least, counting macros, why not? To have a rough idea or a guesstimation on what you are eating. We are all different. We all process foods and absorb nutrients differently. And the calculations are about 20% off. It's just the same with your heart rate monitor. There is about a 20% margin of error, hit or miss. So let's say you plan to eat 2,000 calories a day. You might be eating 1,600 or 2,400. So between 1,600 and 2,400, you have a margin of 800 calories. So how do you know? You think you are eating 2,000 calories, but you might be eating 400 less or 400 more. And I love to be in tune with my perception and my intuition. Your body knows how much it needs. So I don't have my brain involved too much to know how much I need to eat, especially when you know that food labels are 20% off. And sometimes the recipes will change, there will be new ingredients, but the label will remain exactly the same. And as just mentioned, we're all different. And on a given days, especially for us women, with our hormonal cycle, sometimes we may need more food and some days we need less food, or depending on your training load and how you sleep and how you recover. So I don't think there's something really right about eating the same amount of calories and macros every single day. So this was a long ramble, but I hope it helps. And do whatever works for you, but you don't have to count macros and be super rigid about counting calories either to have a lean physique and lead a healthy lifestyle. So I hope that's the good news.